Yesterday was harsh. Let's try that again.
Whether you burn out to dust or you're rising from the ashes, you found the right place. Welcome to Coffee with Dubs. Come on in.
I think people understand how to recognize when their peace is being damaged, but far fewer people actually know how to rebuild it afterward. Because protecting your peace matters. Setting boundaries is important. Learning when to step away from toxic energy is paramount. But eventually, you realize something else too. Peace is not just something you defend, it's something you actively create. And honestly, that takes work because life naturally chips away at people over time. Stress, responsibilities, financial pressure, arguments, bad news, overstimulation, social media, people projecting their pain onto you, your own thoughts against you sometimes too. Little by little, all that adds weight. And if you never intentionally rebuild your emotional foundation, eventually you find yourself surviving life instead of actually getting connected to it. And I think that's where a lot of people quietly are right now. Not broken, not failing, just emotionally depleted. Then you're running on fumes mentally while pretending everything's okay because adulthood doesn't really pause long enough for people to fully recover sometimes. And honestly, I've been thinking about a lot of that lately while trying to work on the mural. Because every time I spend hours inside the garage drawing these lines, adding details, listening to music, slowly bringing this giant to life, I notice something happening internally. My nervous system slows down. The noise softens. The pressure eases a little bit. And I think that's because peace often gets rebuilt through intentional moments. You get to reconnect with yourself again, not through giant vacations, not dramatic resets, not even magically escaping responsibility forever. Just small, consistent moments where these brains of ours get to remember, oh right, I'm still a human being underneath all of this pressure. That matters, and I think people accidentally underestimate the power of simple restorative things because they seem too ordinary to count. Walking the dogs, listening to music, drawing, cooking, getting out into nature, laughing with people I trust, sitting outside after a long day, or even taking a long breath before reacting emotionally. Those aren't insignificant moments. Those are spiritual maintenance. And honestly, I think the modern world has people so addicted to urgency that many no longer know how to emotionally settle themselves without stimulation. Everybody's scrolling, reacting. Everybody's consuming noise constantly. But peace usually grows in something quieter. It grows in stillness, in presence, in intentionality. And I think rebuilding your peace sometimes means relearning how to exist outside of the constant feeding your nervous system more chaos. I know it's difficult, especially for those of you who are still using it as surviving, because survival mode becomes familiar after a while. Stress becomes familiar, hypervigilance becomes your shield, and being emotionally on edge starts feeling normal even when it's unhealthy. And then the calm almost feels uncomfortable because your brain forgot what safety emotionally feels like. That's real. And I think healing begins when you stop asking yourself, how do I avoid every stressful thing forever? And you start asking, how do I build enough internal stability that stress stops owning my entire emotional state? That's a different mindset because peace is not the absence of difficulty. Peace is the ability to remain connected to yourself while difficulty exists around you. That's powerful, and realistically, I think rebuilding peace requires honesty too. If you don't admit when something's draining you, admit when the environment is affecting you, admit when certain conversations leave you emotionally exhausted, or admit when your own habits are contributing to your chaos too, because sometimes protecting your peace means boundaries with other people, and sometimes it means boundaries with yourself. Less doom scrolling, less over explaining, less arguing, less feeding situations that constantly pull you out of alignment emotionally. That awareness changes things because eventually you realize peace is not something you stumble into accidentally. It's something you practice. Little choices, little pauses, little adjustments, little moments where you stop feeding the chaos and start feeding clarity instead. Maybe somebody needed that reminder today other than me. You're allowed to rebuild yourself slowly. You're allowed to create routines that make your mind feel safer. You're allowed to pursue calm without feeling guilty for it. Because protecting your peace matters, but rebuilding it after life wears you down, that might be one of the most important forms of self-respect there ever has been. So if you want to learn more about that, join me tomorrow on another episode of Coffee with Dubs. I'll see you then.